Welcome back to the channel for another College TF review. Today we have another Star Wars review, that being the Jazwares Micro Galaxy Squadron Razor Crest. And yes, I've already reviewed a Razor Crest on the channel, but that one's the Arvala 7 version, and this one is just the Razor Crest. So just clean, no missing part kind of battle damage. It's still battle damage because of course it's the Razor Crest, but it's we'll get into the comparison and why it's different shortly. So and I just as heads up, I got mine over, I had to get mine online. I actually ordered mine from eBay because it was cheaper than Amazon, but this is an Amazon exclusive item, so it is pretty hard to come by. So just a heads up, but I think it's definitely worth it. And I mean, try and get it for as cheap as you can, but you're probably going to end up paying an inflated price tag. Excuse my inability to speak, but this version is definitely the better version, as it is the clean Razor Crest opposed to the very damaged Razor Crest. And it's ironic that it's harder to come by, but that's what you get when it's an exclusive to Amazon, I guess in this case. It's been around for a little while, but it is definitely hard to find nowadays. And before we get into the review, as always, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out and helps the channel out, and allows me to keep making these reviews for you guys and expanding what it is I review on the channel. And if you have any other suggestions of things you want me to review or things you would like to see on the channel, definitely be sure to hit me up in the comments below, and let me know what you think of these products, of course. So before we get into all of these awesome little guys, and my hands are fairly large, but these guys are really tiny, let's start off with a look at the packaging. Sorry, Grogu and Mando. All right, so here we have the packaging, and just for a comparison, I have already reviewed the Arvala 7 version, and so overall the packaging is pretty much the same. Now we do get a different scene. For whatever reason, this one has gunships in it, and I still can't figure out why. I don't know why there are gunships in it. I love the gunship, and I have picked it up, but I don't know why they are in it. But here's just the differences. So their features are the same, it's just the paint is different, and a few panels on them are different. They actually have different molding. So here you can see this one has the battle damage panel, and this one has the regular panel. And then the overall paint on them is a little different. They have, of course, both from the Series 1 lineup. And there you go. Let's get both of these big boxes for these tiny ships out of the way. And bring in the ship, the Razor Crest, and the tiny figures. So included in this version, we do get a whole different set of figures from that included in the other version. So let me bring in both. So this is the new one, and then of course the Arvala 7. Just get the landing gear out. So here's the Arvala 7 version, which I believe this was the first release. And here are the figures which came with that one, and I did already review it, so please be sure to check out that video if you have not already, to figure out which Razor Crest you would like to pick up. So those are the figures we get with that one. So again, with the original release, we got Mando in his older armor, whereas the Arvala 7 release, I should say, with the clean version, we get Mando with his new shiny Beskar. Looks very nice. Again, different paint applications on this guy. A lot of silver. And then he also comes with his jetpack, and his cape is molded differently, whereas this version just came with the cape. And the cape is removable on this guy, and the same thing is true for the jetpack and cape on this. And look at how tiny this thing is. It's so freaking tiny. It's been painted on all sides, and even Mando's back is painted underneath all that. So very nice attention to detail. And if you wanted to, you could, if you didn't want him to have his jetpack on and you just wanted to have him have the cape, you could take the cape from the other figure and tab it onto this guy. It's the same attachment. So you can also just have him with a full cape if you wanted to. So get all that situated back. So that was that Mando. This is definitely a very nice little figure, and if you haven't seen my other video, I will quickly go over that these figures do in fact have articulation, so he can kick. single legs, yes, or double legs, whichever you like. And they also do go backwards, which is very nice. And he does have a little holster there with his gun. It's very hard to see, sorry. Come on. Oh man, I think I lost the jetpack. So there's a little holster right there, very hard to see. And then he does have arm articulation, which can move independently or together, and it can go all the way up and around, full 360. No head articulation, of course, how tiny this figure is. I'm amazed they have articulation at all, and it's not just molded in like a sitting position or standing position, whatever it might be. So that is Mando. Very nice figure. I will say the one consequence to them giving his jetpack is it is a little bit harder to stand him, but he still stands very nicely. Then we do also get Greef Karga with this release, whereas the other release we got Quill and Jawa. This one we get Greef Karga. He has been painted very nicely. The attention to detail in these is insane. I mean, you've got the brown for inside on the boots, and then this lower cape-ish area is painted black. Got the black and the red. I mean, this whole figure is painted. Everything on this is painted. It's pretty incredible. And he is articulated as well, as you can see him moving back and forth. His legs don't articulate independently, as he has like a kind of like a skirt, but he can sit down, of course, and then his arms do move independently. So he can also move. And these guys are made of like a flexible rubbery plastic, kind of like the cape and stuff on the vintage collection figures. So it's a similar plastic that maybe a little bit stiffer than that material, but definitely as pliable and sturdy. I mean, even the head sculpt looks pretty darn amazing. There it is. It's pretty good. Of course, there's a little bit of paint smudging, but that's, you know, for how little of it there is, it's pretty amazing. And then, of course, probably my favorite part of this release, other than, of course, the Razor Crest, is little Grogu in his space egg. That's what I like to call it. And it comes on a little stand here, and of course it does pop off, as it does integrate into the ship. We do have little Grogu, nice paint apps on there, just some red, otherwise molded in like a white plastic. There's a tiny little Grogu in there. Try and get it to focus on him. Tiny little Grogu. Is detailed in there. He does not come out as far as I can tell, so. And he has a little cushion behind him. But definitely an awesome feature. So those are all the figures, and we'll definitely put them in the ship in a minute. But for now, let's set these guys aside so we can do a comparison of the two ships. So here is the clean version of the Razor Crest. And of course, like the other one, it has all the same features as that one. So we can quickly go over those. Of course, you get the loading ramp, but you have a nice detailed gun rack in there. Kind of hard to see. It's fully molded in on the other side, the whole gun rack. And there is like the door and stuff on this side. Again, hard to see, it's shadowed. We'll get a better view of that in a second. So that opens and closes. You do get the landing gear. And, you know, fantastic sculpting throughout. Very nice silver color on this. These just snap in place like that. And then this rear door does also, in fact, open there. And then to access the cargo hold, you can remove this whole top section. Sometimes a little bit tricky to do. There it goes. Comes off nice and easy. And again, like just the way they painted this, it's got like several different colorings of silver and gunmetal-y colors on it. It's pretty well done. And the interior of this has also been molded and painted as well, which is really amazing. And then the inside of the Razor Crest, also painted and sculpted, and it does come with a guy in carbonite there. It's the same one that comes with the Arvala 7, same molding. The paint on this is a little bit shinier on this one than the other one. And then it does also have a little carbonite chamber in here, so we can open it up and we can stick this guy inside. It's hard not to lose him inside of the ship's hold here, as this section is kind of underneath another piece there, but he does fit inside there. Got him in. And close it up. And you can see more nice detail throughout the cargo hold. We have the cargo net there and the ladder. Lots of nice detailing. And again, let's see if we can kind of get some more light on that front section there. See some of that detail in the front. A little hard to see, but this thing is detailed throughout and painted everywhere, which is absolutely insane. Let's get this top cover back on. Oh, one more feature actually before we put that back on is this side panel does also come off. So it just pops out. So you can have the ship open on the side if you want to take like a photo, something inside the ship or whatever. And then here's the panel, and it is painted and sculpted on the inside as well, bags and stuff. And this piece is actually different on this model than on the other one. So real quick, while we have it off, here's the Arvala 7 version. And it also too does have a panel. And you can already see the paint differences between the two. Pop the top off so you can get the panel out. And so here are the two side panels. So the Arvala 7 version, of course, has that it has like parts missing from it entirely, as it's meant to look like the Jawas are taking the Razor Crest apart for scrap, whereas this version is fully filled out. And then, of course, you can see the difference in paint tones here. Very different. This one's got, not only is it got a silver underneath, but then it's got like a brown wash applied over top, whereas this one's just more got a few different layers of silver. The striping on this is also in a slightly different location. I think it's mainly due to missing panels that it's noticeable like that. Yeah, it's just the missing panels. But otherwise, the sculpting lines up actually everywhere, which is pretty good. And then on the inside, I believe the detailing is the same except for where we have missing panels, and again, different coloring. This has like a black wash over top of the silver, whereas this has that rusty wash. So there's that comparison for you. Get all this back up. We can do a direct comparison between the two ships overall. Reattach this panel. Everything on these goes together very, very cleanly, very smoothly, and very securely. So it's definitely very well-built toys from Jazwares. And so there's the Razor Crest back assembled. Here it is, this one. Just landing gear makes it a little easier to maneuver them around. I guess when they're flying, but just for the review purposes, of course. So there they are from a front-on perspective. Kind of see the differences in tones, but otherwise the detailing, of course, is the same. The guns have been painted the same silvery color. This one, they have that brown wash on them. This one, maybe a little bit of like a grayish wash, but this one's definitely a bit more bright in their coloring, but still look fantastic. And of course, there's just a head comparison, the different coloring and everything. Now, the only other panels on these two that are different, like the physical molding that's different, so you have that side panel that's different, then also the engine cover on this side is different. So if you look at this one, it kind of has a few panels here missing, right in there. These panels are missing, and that little piece is missing and everything. Whereas this one, it is completely clean, like the other side. So those panels are actually like separate pieces. They don't come off or anything, but they are separate pieces that Jazwares molded and then attached. So you could have the two different versions of the Razor Crest, that's pretty impressive. And otherwise, that's about it for, I would say, the comparisons between the two. They are just slightly different paint scheme, and then this one, they do have different, a few different parts, only two different parts, really. But yeah, this one is a beautiful rendition of the Razor Crest. It looks like a mini HASLAB. Very nice paint throughout. The whole thing's painted. Pretty cool engine detailing back there too. This bronze is more prominent on this version than the Arvala 7 version. Very nice detail on the engines. Nice detail even on this back piece there. The bottom's fully detailed. Really awesome. And the landing gear on these are a little bit interesting on the Razor Crest, as it's hard to get that long, those long pieces in such a small space, so they actually staggered them, but you never really see the ship in a perspective where unless you're looking at it straight from the bottom, you won't see the ship in a perspective where it's noticeable. And it's awesome that they gave it working landing gear in the first place. That yellow stripe turned out beautifully on the side. The only paint application I think this is missing is the little red inside of those parts there, but otherwise it's pretty spot on. Then of course it does have a cockpit, just like the other version. It opens up. You have a seat in there, and then this tab is for Grogu's egg, and you have 2 more seats in back. Nice control panel detailing. So let's get the figures inside. So to start, we can take Mando, and you actually don't have to remove the jetpack or the cape to sit him inside with this version, as the cape is off to one side, so you can't actually sit him inside without removing any of those parts. So you just want to get him into a sitting pose, make him look like he is flying the Crest, and then just a matter of getting him seated in there. Like that. There we go. You can even have his hands on top, driving the Crest. Looks very good. And then we can take little Grogu's egg here, pop it off the stand, and then it's just a little peg on the bottom, and that's what this little slot here is meant for. It is definitely very tricky to get this in, as it's so tiny, but once you line it up, it goes in very smoothly. Once his egg is in there, it is hard to fit another figure past him. You have to put the figure in before you put him in, but you can seat 2 other figures inside. So if you wanted to seat Grief Karga, or if you wanted to take, Quill, or a Jawa, or whatever you wanted to put inside, you can. But we have Mando and his foundling, Grogu, in the cockpit together, and that looks really awesome. So that probably does it for my review of the Jazwares Razor Crest, this being the clean version, and it is just called Razor Crest. The packaging I showed in the beginning is a little different, but the real way to differentiate them is, of course, the figures that it comes with. This one's got the more silvery paint scheme, and this version is the Arvala 7 version, whereas this is just Razor Crest. This is Razor Crest, Arvala 7, just Razor Crest. I think if you're a fan of the Mandalorian series, this is definitely one worth tracking down, so you can get that really tiny little Grogu in there, and of course a nice clean version of the Razor Crest. This thing is definitely like a little mini HASLAB. It's so, I just love it so much. It's fantastic. I'm obsessed with the Mandalorian series, and I do love his ship a lot. So thank you for watching this video. Again, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so I can keep these reviews coming to you, and let me know in the comments if this, what you think of these ships, which one's your favorite between this version and the Arvala 7 version, and if there's any other things you would like me to review on the channel. I do have a whole bunch more vintage collection and Micro Galaxy Squadron reviews lined up, along with my normal Transformers reviews. So definitely stay tuned to the channel and keep up on my updates. And in the meantime, go play with your toys, have some fun. And I'll see you on the next review. Thanks for watching.